So, this is my response follow-up to Kamala Harris's addressing of the United States American people on her closing address. This may be coming up a bit late, obviously, but it's relevant that I address this because what's an important detail to pick out of her speech? Okay, she did concede. She did put that in words. She said that after, X amount of I don't want to say almost like good solid 10, maybe almost 15 minutes into her speech, but still, she did actually concede. That's a positive thing to look at here. She conceded, she did acknowledge this with her voters, and she did fundamentally concede the fact that we in America, whom did not vote for Donald Trump, need to be looking at the reality of staying positive, keep working and working hard to stay positive in this light and day. I've seen a lot of people treating this like it was a razor-thin, close race, and in some regards, maybe some people may call it that. I don't call it that. I call it a sweeping voice, clear victory for Donald Trump. There's no other way to put it. That's as simple and short as this can be said. And on the other side of that is accountability and holding those accountable now that we know who's going to be running our future presidency, number one, and our Senate, number two. First and foremost, it is the Republicans. It may not be the Republican Party because the Lincoln Party may be dead. That's a fact. The Lincoln Party, the Lincoln Project, a lot of these fundamental groups that have been risen up to fight for the betterment of us in America, these ideas are not dead. Remember that, children, kids, women, men out there, all of you guys who want to see a brighter, better future for your children today, starting with the present, because it starts right here today. No. It's our voices, more so importantly, to keep those projects and those causes and those fights alive every single day. For all of you who are heartbroken and torn about this whole event, just remember something. I'm a proud and understanding individual who voted for Kamala and did not support Trump, did not stand with Trump, never wanted to see a Trump presidency, but I'm not going to turn around and bury my head and keep my mouth shut if I've got nothing credible to say. What I've got to say that's credible is that I'm still a proud American, and I can still sit there and turn and say that I can still accept this, even if he is somebody who is a convicted criminal, convicted felon, been charged with certain crimes, whatever else. You know what's interesting? That is what he's been convicted of, right? It didn't stop him from being able to be president-elect, and it didn't stop him from being a candidate. So that's the relevant factor. Now, what's more important is not about what's in the past. It's about the relevant concepts of what we must learn from a lot of the messaging that came out of Kamala Harris's closing speech and her core messaging here. It was about, trying to move forward, trying to unite together, just like Donald Trump said in his message at 2 o'clock in the morning, which I commend and applaud the fact that his messaging was positive, it was powerful, it was direct to the point, and a lot of congratulations and positive notes were more than just about himself. He really did try to show, hey, this is my team, these are my people, these are going to be my future, people to welcome. Now, why Elon Musk wasn't there? Shame on Elon Musk, because Elon Musk is talking about getting involved in our American government, okay, cutting taxes, cutting funding, cutting massive amounts of spending and other things. Somebody who doesn't even have his Tesla company underway correctly, heck, doesn't even have the artificial intelligence correctly. His Tesla cars aren't even proven 100% effectively. He's not even proven to be a successful business leader, let alone a social media mogul. Okay, and now he's talking about trying to run our government and to cut and be in control of our monetary spending and cutting of our budget. And heaven forbid if he tries to get near the military, because he's no boy wonder. He's no Tony Stark, okay? But the reality is we still have to hold those who are going to be running our country accountable. And that will come January 20th when Trump is sworn in and the new presidency will be there. I will be there proudly to watch, as every American, to watch that day, to watch that point, and everything going on up into that point. Right now, we have a hurricane that's a Category 3, Hurricane Raphael, that's in the coming in through Cuba, impacting Cuba, and is supposed to supposedly dissipate as it turns somewhat westward toward Texas. We have to pray for our southern people in Texas and Louisiana and Alabama, and pray that the huge, gigantic, dry dust, Sahara dust that's sitting out there, that huge, dry, arid, like less than 50% humidity, some cases lower than 20 to 10%. We hope that dries this hurricane out, because we don't need more supernatural, destructive, disastrous weather to affect us. Check out Mark Sudduth on Hurricane Track, hurricane.com, on YouTube. I think he's on TikTok as well and other sources, but most primarily from the takeaway. We've got to remember something. Kamala Harris's speech, she didn't walk back some of the rhetoric really that she said in her campaign. And I haven't seen Trump do it either. So they're both equally just as hypocritical there. Okay, they're both at fault for saying extremist things and motivating the political climate and the sensitivity. And so is Elon Musk. Elon Musk, if you remember, signed a petition for starting off at $100 to buy Pennsylvania votes in all the battleground states, and then upped it to $1 million. And I even saw that there is a voter who is claiming Elon Musk fraudulently wrote him a false pretense, sense to buy his vote. It might be a woman, might be a man, but that's already trending right now, and we need to hold him accountable. If Elon Musk on the Trump side, on the political Trump team, the Trump cult, whatever it wants to be referred to, which I'm going to say right now, we're in the Trump America. That's what we're in right now. It's Trump's America, because the Trump American voices have spoken. Those Trump voters, they have spoken, even those who have been turned and flipped. Believe it or not, yes, there are Democrats who spoke even more so clearly that flipped, African-American Democrats that flipped. They're the ones who made up a large portion of the vote. If you don't know that, look it up. It's true. It's what happened. That's what happened. That's the reason why. It's not just hardened Republican states, even down here in Florida, in the Greater Sunshine State, which used to be considered a battleground state, but then now it's considered, to what the Democrats look at, as not even a main concern. That's a sad reality. The Democrats should be worried about every state, every American's voice. It's not just who you can pander to. The same thing with Republicans. Republicans pander on fear. And if you're in the Republican Party and you don't believe that, I'm sorry, but you're not aware of what's going on. If you're in the Trump side and you don't believe that, then you really don't know what's going on. If you're aware of it, you should at least be able to admit that your party and the Trump side does pander to fear, hate, and lies. It is true. There's too much of it. I don't think every Trump person is a hateful, lying, fascist or extremist type person trying to push fear and hate. But all this hate toward the LGBT community and the indifference of children's dreams to grow up and be what they want to be and self-identify with what they want to be, you need to hold something to the accountability. You didn't grow up in a childhood, grow through high school where they punished you, scrutinized you, and challenged you on who you could be. They didn't tell you couldn't be who you wanted to identify as or who you wanted to dream to be as a child. Okay, that was not something you had to cope with. You maybe dealt with it on a peer-to-peer level, but you didn't deal with it on a political level where large political people came into your life and people of higher wealth and higher nobility in the public eye came after you as a child, as a teenager. Our children are dealing with that every day. And the message from both Kamala Harris and Donald Trump we must not take away from, which is what I'm standing for, McLovin News, for you, the families out there, no matter who you are, black, white, brown, Asian, Puerto Rican, Spanish, Russian, Indian, starting right here in America, for all Americans, we're all interconnected. We have to hold accountability to the leaders of today, the leaders right now and what they do. Kamala Harris says she's going to promise, and this is another important takeaway, she says she's going to promise a peaceful power transfer. She's going to walk away and hand it over to Donald Trump. We will be there to watch that happen. Because even I can self-concede to realize, hey, this is the end. This is the end of the Obama term, the whole Biden term, because if you think about it, Obama and Biden, they were working together. A lot of people felt like when Biden took into office, he's just bringing a lot of the old Obama policies. Now that's all out the door. All that stuff's out the door. So now we're going to get back to that whole, do pre-existing conditions still matter? Do women's rights in their bodies still matter? I say yes, they do, because we should not, as men, primarily, as all the male voters, we should not be taking away a woman's right to say that we can get in between her body and her choices. Simple as that. And I don't think any younger generation would think that it's right to tell a woman she should just not have the right to have her own contraception and birth control and care for her body way before we even start talking about the rights of abortion. Okay, and thinking about taking a baby's life, regardless of what the circumstances are. Women's rights should not be back before they had the chance to vote and the voice to vote. And that's a fact. That is a solid fact. That is where we sit in America today. Our Supreme Court justices are about to get a full turnaround. As Clarence Thomas, when I read from a recent article, which I can share that if anybody's further interested, please leave a comment. It's a very important article that was released by The Nation, which also did the article on Elon Musk and his danger about that professor I mentioned there, and all contributions go to that professor from The Nation. That is the publishing I paid for a year subscription. It's a good article. It's valuable. It's credible. It's an eye-opener to seeing the dangers of what Elon Musk has over our internet, social Wi-Fi connectivity with his new, network of control that he has over the Starlink. And pretty soon, from what I've heard from somebody in which I just joined, being a Verizon customer, I just joined also T-Mobile. I've heard that Elon Musk's new Starlink is going to be buying into T-Mobile. So yeah, it's a little bit concerning because Elon Musk is also going to be running, if you remember, into the Trump presidency candidacy, into the cabinet. So there's a lot of questions of accountability that we have to hold into a higher standard here for our kids and our children. We're going to remain hopeful and remain positive, but always expect the worst because, as I've always said, Just like how I was able to concede and realize what the reality was here. I never believed Kamala Harris and the blue wave and this whole blue talk was just going to be the thing. And same thing with the red wave. I've seen already comments about it. Now, the biggest thing in this country we're going to be seeing a lot of is people rubbing this political win and victory and loss in other people's faces. You're going to see a lot of flags going up and hate, outbursts, crazy stuff in the news. Let's hope that people keep their heads level, because in America, what we need is stability and accountability. We need peace and finally coming together to really hold accountability. And that includes those who voted for Donald Trump. If your leader and your candidate starts screwing up your country, starts making terrible mistakes, you start seeing things going in the wrong direction, and you remember back on the fact that we were once united against, not to bring up the past, but this is a fact, we were once united against terrorism, because terrorists attacked our country back on September 11th, 2001. And we held together, even in the disgraceful presidency of Bush and the war against Iraq and Iran for oil and weapons of mass destruction. Okay, the WMD, that's what it was short for, WMOD or something. Yeah, it's WLMD. That's the old thing. And our Iraq veterans who suffered from PTSD and trauma and roadside bombs and IEDs, and they come back to our country similar to the vets in Iraq and way back to Vietnam, and felt like they were just tossed into a war. They'd bring some of that war back with them. You know, we have to remember our vets, our American patriots, and those who have fought for our country. And not all who came back with a good heart. I recently dealt with a vet who came back from allegedly Iraq war, was a full-blown narcissist and drove me crazy for 8 months, and still to this day keeps writing me nasty narcissistic letters and emails, threatening me and gaslighting me, still through email, because he's got nothing better to do but drink Bud Light to the point where his liver's about to give out. This is a short sense note. And this is just talking about from a personal level, something I was affected by that I haven't really talked about in a while. Now, that narcissist is gone. He's out of my life. Saddest part is he's a former he's an alleged Iraq vet. And I can believe it only because the mental acuity of this guy, with how much booze he drank since he lived with me, was well over 12 cans a day. That's over literally a gallon a day in Bud Light. That's what he drank. Nothing else. He's finally gone. There's nothing else more to say on that. But to think about that, I know there's many other good vets out there, many other good people, because this one guy gives vets a bad name. And thankfully, hopefully, he'll disappear in the annals of my spam folder, because that's what I finally had to put him into, was a spam folder. He's done personal attacks on me and personal violations to my human and civil rights in my own home. And how do you ask how he did this? Many different ways. Getting up in my face, threatening me, gaslighting me, accusing to try to have illegal and persecuted personal information, to defame me in public and spread information and misinformation about me. There are so many ways he's come after me, in certain ways, to threaten me and entice me when cops weren't here and when they got called, to spread misinformation, to take a certain sick glee to make up false allegations that I pulled my firearm on him, since I'm a proud Second Amendment supporter. And yeah, that's right, I'm a proud Second Amendment supporter who knows that Democrats aren't taking my guns, and neither are the Republicans. That's not what it's about. And the NRA, they're just doing what they do. Don't believe into the NRA's politics. They care about the Second Amendment, but more so about making gun sales. Sorry. So, in a short summary, that's why I don't pay for the NRA. I may have NRA shirts, but I didn't buy them from their website. I stopped doing that a long time ago. I realized I was just giving money to the NRA. Who needs to do that? You can be proud Second Amendment, believe in the Constitution. Sorry about that darkness there. But the close here, most important thing is, Kamala Harris did not walk back her full statements on her trail. What she said is, we got to keep on fighting the fight of what we've been fighting for. She made a rhetoric that made it seem like she's basically not walking back much of the claims that she said. She didn't say it with anger or violence, rhetoric, or prolonged negativity, but she, just like Trump, I haven't seen any walking back of some of that very strong message and rhetoric that she calls him a dangerous, deranged man who can't run this country, who's incompetent, who's dangerous, who's a threat to democracy. She didn't really denounce any part of that, and I can understand why. Donald Trump hasn't denounced the claims that he's made against her, and neither candidate in either side for either both polarized party has even tried to walk back anything like that. So, what we as in America are responsible for is what we do from here on out, and holding each other to a better and higher standard. Mental health is an important factor in this country. Making sure we look out for our neighbors and be there for our neighbors and not allow aggression and violence to take place, that is crucial. Knowing when to stop, to not let actions get the better hand of us, and showing that actions do speak louder than words, that is a very important principle to uphold, because our children are watching every single day. The generations now, here and now, present day, future going forward. Without the present, there is no future. I own that trademark. I made that. That is coming from me, Philip Mills, McLovin News, here in the state of Florida, in the Sunshine State, in the Space Coast of Melbourne, Florida. I was proud to see that Donald Trump made his full speech here in Florida, because honestly, there's no other place he'd feel better than making that speech in Florida, where he's protected by Florida, since Ron DeSantis is an ally of his, even if they are not on the same boat. So, good for Trump. It's a proud victory win for him. Now we're waiting to see what's going to happen with the House, since we know the Senate is basically 52 majority win victory for the Republicans, and Donald Trump is the nominee. In the thing that they talked about a lot as well, I don't want to leave this part out, there's a big talk about it being razor thin, razor close. Here's the funny thing. The presidential win that Trump is sitting at right now is 72,169,842 votes. I wouldn't really call that a tiny, slim sliver or a landslide victory, nor is it razor close. They haven't fully finished calling everything, but Kamala Harris is sitting at 67,358,548, which means where her votes are about to finish counting up, and she's already got all her counts included, and every single state pretty much, their voice is very clear. Some more harder than others. Nevada and Arizona are more strong rhetoric there. I just see a post that just came out right now where Kamala Harris is really urging her supporters to concede and accept the election results, and that's a good thing. That is a good thing. I don't know if some of the people who are pursuing the illegal justice search against Donald Trump in his past convictions and offenses, if that stuff's going to wind down, that's a part of the legal law and system we have to uphold. For what Donald Trump has done, for unpaid fines and fees that he's just as responsible for, he still has a lot of unpaid fines and fees that a lot of people don't know about, and who knows if he'll ever pay them. Heck, the Democrats hadn't paid their fees. Hillary Clinton hadn't paid her fees. Bernie Sanders has unpaid fees. There's a lot of political candidates in the past who have unpaid fees. Now, Donald Trump has never been a man to respect the working man, the principal man. If you have a family member as an electrician, a worker, a carpenter, an architect, somebody who's a person to build buildings and put together things, to fix things, you can be rest assured he screwed over people that you would know personally and hold dear for the value of his own dollars. And that's fine. That's who Trump is. It's always who he's going to be. You can't change that. He's not going to go back and turn around. What he is showing a sign of hope that I'm seeing as a positive emphasis is he's not just riding on this revenge tour so far, but we can't hold anything past him, and we can't thinking, oh, we're just safe and everything's out of the window. We as America going to hold him accountable. Same thing with the Republicans, and the same thing with the Democrats. Everyone's going to be held accountable now, because we've already flipped back and forth. We've seen what Americans' voices are saying. We're tired of going back from Democrat, Republican, Democrat, Republican. We're back to Republican now. Can this actually work? Can a full-blown majority in the Senate and the presidency and the House, if they can pull it off, which right now in the House, the GOP has gained one seat. The Democrats have only lost one seat. The new majority right now is 190 Democrats holding the seats, 205 GOP. And so far the Democrats have gained more in the past several hours since I last checked it, since 12:35 to about 6, in about a 6-hour window. They've gained at least 9 or 10 seats. So and the GOP has only gained about 4. The full results have not been out. It's a long ongoing situation, but that's my update for today. Even if the Republicans have full total control and they own the House, they own the Senate, it's still going to be on them. It doesn't matter. If it is the Democrats stalling things for the next 4 years and stalling up Trump's plans, well, that's kind of a hardball, because technically there would still be enough Republicans and, I believe, Democrats willing to show bipartisan support. That's what I honestly believe. We can't sit in America and have an unfunctioning government. There was way too many shutdowns during Donald Trump's presidency, and I say it here in America, no more shutdowns. We need to see our American government functioning for us, because the old Republican Party, even now today, where they used to be anti-slavery, it's a little strange that they're not condoning some of the stuff that's coming out about slavery. And the Democrats, who used to be all for slavery back in the old days, if you remember, now they're the party for the people. But they are all about big government. That part has never changed about them. Now, the Democrats are claiming to try to fight for us in our government, and we have to try to see that, even in their own concession, that they can all admit that they've all admitted that they've lost. Now we have to turn to the Republicans and say, are you guys ready to do the same? Enough with the lies, enough with the nonsense. Let's get down to business. Let's get this country back on track. And that's my positive hope for the message that Donald Trump can make that a reality. People don't need to reiterate or re-emphasize that, wave flags, spread hate, spread bigotry, spread fear in this country. Let's unify and be a part of being an America that we can be proud of, because we were united against terrorism back in 2001. We spent a long time seeing our vets come back from war, and a lot of division after the terrorism that affected our country right here in our homeland, when we were too blind and too big to think we weren't a victim. We couldn't be attacked. When, how ironic, back in 1991, at least a good solid 10 plus years prior before that, there was a bombing at the bottom of the World Trade Center from a failed attempt of trying to take down the towers. There is no question that we are far past the point now of seeing the fact that we've been divided, we've been upset, our country's been hit way too many times personally, and now from within we have a clear and vibrant voice of message that says we are now turning back to the Republicans, and we're hoping that they can get something done. So let's hold them accountable, because now we are looking to our future and our children, starting with the present today and every day forward, holding them to the highest standard possible. Let's expect that. And if they can't get it done, they got to get out of there, and we got to start getting newer and younger and brighter minds into our political houses to clean up this mess. It's not a swamp. It's the America we know and love and hold dear. All of our poor and destitute, and every bit of brightness and goodness that can come out of our country, from Statue of Liberty to the highest mantles and power of elected officials, to the lowest forms, to every political foundation, to every government, to every Senate race, to every House race, to every candidate, congressional leader, every congressman, anybody and everybody working in this country day in and day out tirelessly to report the news. We need to support truth and news and true journalism. And of course, even our current political media moguls that Donald Trump has threatened to shut down and go after. Let the media be the media, okay? Let the media and the truth be what it is. If you start taking that away, we're basically living in a similar country just like Putin, or just like in a third world dictatorship. And America is not going to be a place for freedom and the beauty of equality and be the true America if we're not able to be free and be who we are. We need hope in this country. We need positivity. We need truth. We need influence to inspire youth and generations to have a future to grow toward. People start losing that, and there's no knowing where things are going to go, apart from where we're already seeing kids who still stay at home with their parents, smoke weed, do cannabis, get pregnant at young ages. Don't go and pursue even a trade school. You don't even need to go to college. Just go to a trade school. Pursue something. Have some positive hope and dream. Apart from the epidemic of the rich and the powerful that controls so much, remember something. You still have the power of your voice and your effort to do something about it and get out there and be a part of something bigger than yourself. So let's bring a better positive message from McLovin News here, standing up for the kids and the children from the present today and the future forward. Without the present, there is no future. And I stand by that strongly. And I fight for the kids, and I fight for the American people in every general sense, even if they have something or nothing to bring to the table. If they have nothing to bring to the table, there is no hate. There is nothing but positivity and influence to hope that there's something good. Because if you don't have anything good to bring to this fight and this cause, there is nothing there to be added to this picture. For the kids and for the future, for the present starting today, that is what matters. And that's why I stand by my trademark, McLovin News. Thanks for watching. That's my update. Thank you for watching.